Hey everybody, welcome back to the arcade. Showing off my Daytona twin here. Still needs some work, but it is running and playing fine. Picked this up from As Found Arcades, Bob Cunningham. Super nice guy. Look him up on Facebook if you're looking for a game. He sells and drives and delivers all across the United States. Originally, I had a Daytona stand-up, which was just a single player, and my dream was to get two of those because they work well in the arcade lineup and link them so you could play two players. But Bob had originally, he had a single sit down that he listed, and then when I messaged him, he's like, hey, I've got two twins, or I've got a twin. So this was pretty cheap considering for Daytona, but the name of his company is As Found Arcades, so I've put a lot of work into this, and thanks to other videos out there on YouTube that I've watched, I was able to clean it up and get it going. I mean, it worked when he gave it to me, but like the boards inside were filthy, sound didn't work, it was just disgusting and needed a lot of work. So it's taken me, I don't know, over a month now of just kind of tinkering with it and getting it going. And you could see it, like, you know, this part here, the wood was missing, so I still need to sand down this Bondo. Something's going on with the marquee. Probably needs like a new ballast or fuse or something like that. But the game plays great. The monitors were redone by Sharp Image here in Vegas. They're the original Nanaus. And I do have some new Macvisions to put it in if they do break, but swapping out the monitors, you know, it sounds like a good idea, but then you've got to get, you know, they don't usually, the size isn't right, and then you've got to get new bezels, and if you get OCD with this stuff like I do, it'll bother you. But Daytona USA, I mean, what else is there to say? It's arguably the greatest racing game of all time. You know, if you're not counting like Super Sprint and Off-Road and those type of games, but for a sit-down first-person experience, it doesn't really get any better than this. I had a lot of help from Ken at I Repair Sega, and he used to work for Sega, and he told me over the phone, because I almost bought some Daytona 2s last year, and I ended up not buying them. But Ken from I Repair Sega, he told me, no, Daytona is the greatest racing game ever made. And I asked him why, and he said, because of the turning mechanism and the way you turn and the drifting, it's just perfect. And that Sega never really got it right with any other games. You know, that's his opinion. I tend to agree with him. Of course, I love Sega Rally and all those other games too, but I think, you know, this is obviously one of the greatest racing games of all time. So let's take a look. Alright, so when I first got Daytona, I had avoided getting one of these for a long time because I had heard that they were a pain in the butt to work on. And that has proven true. But I think, you know, logically it all makes sense how it works. It's just, you know, there's the main board in here connected to everything here, and then back under here you've got all sorts of, you know, the soundboard and everything like that. It's just a really complicated thing, and when something goes wrong, you notice it right away. So you see all these cables and everything hanging around in here. Even the slightest amount of interference will screw up the game. So for example, with this one, I had I didn't do anything, and all of a sudden the sound went out, and you know, it just, I equivalent it to a, it's got to be a ground issue, things like that. So if you have one of these, make sure your PCBs are mounted with legs. Try and keep wires from crossing where you can. You know, I think the issue I had on this one is, you know, some of the chips on the soundboard came a little loose, but I also installed a new fan, and that fan was crossing wires with the soundboard, so I made sure to separate those. Little things like that can set off a Daytona. So, you know, if you have those kind of problems, just, you got to be really thorough with this machine, in my experience. You got the subwoofer there, main PCB, sound, and the motor boards are there. Unfortunately, the force feedback doesn't work on this. Works a little bit on that one. Still has an issue. I think the motors work, but if you don't have the motor control board and it's not working, you're just kind of screwed. And I checked with Ken at I Repair Sega, and he doesn't fix those. So, and it's this one right here. I have the broken one just sitting in here, connected. You know, just one day, hopefully I'll find one, but I've kind of given up on force feedback on this. Anyway, those are the internals. When I got this, it was disgusting. I had to clean it, vacuum it. I washed all the boards, and as you can see, it's working great now. Alright, let's get some gameplay. So, one of the draws of Daytona back in the day is the music and the sound. And let me tell you, the sound on these twins is loud. I don't even think it's set to halfway right now, but if I open the garage doors, the first day I turned it on, it was so loud, I was surprised the neighbors didn't complain. It's that loud. So, let's get going here.
Please select the race course. Please choose manual or automatic.
Gentlemen, start your engine.
Congratulations, you finished second.
Alright, so there you have it, Daytona Twin. If you got the space, highly recommend this version of it. If you don't, the stand-up version is great as well, especially if you can get two. one of the greatest games of all time, racing-wise, but probably in general. I mean, Daytona defined the arcades when it was out. I mean, it was. We used to go to Mary Kay's here again. I'm name dropping the arcade here in Vegas, but we used to go to Mary Kay's all the time, and the main reason we went was to play this game. You know, in the 90s, nothing could beat Daytona. This and Street Fighter and all the fighting revolution really brought arcades back because they were dead for a while, you know. So if you get a chance to play one of these at your local barcade or whatever, do it. If you get a chance to buy one and you have the space, they're really not that expensive because they take up such a huge footprint. If this didn't take up such a huge footprint, I'll bet they'd be a lot more expensive arcade-wise. They're a bit of work, but don't be scared. You just gotta have some patience and take everything out and clean it and ask for help. And there's a ton of videos about this game in particular on YouTube to help you out. And you're always feel free to IM me too. Not like I'm an expert, but anyway, highly recommend this game. It's awesome.